This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
The numbers told the story, they always do.
It's one of those idiots who believe in analytics.
This is a numbers game with Gil Alexander on VSiN.
Good Wednesday morning to you. It is a numbers game at VSiN, the sports betting network, VSiN.com, Game Plus, iHeartRadio, YouTube TV, Sirius XM Channel 158. However you're taking us in, we are appreciative. We are grateful. It's Gil Alexander. That right there is not Kelly Bidlin.
No.
It's Dustin Swedelson, everybody. Who's hanging out with us starting yesterday throughout the rest of the week. How you doing, man?
I mean, before Kelly's weight loss, our bosses used to email me stuff that was meant for Kelly and then email Kelly stuff that was meant for me because they just thought fat bearded guy, and they would confuse us all the time. In fact, I get tweets a lot of time, people annoyed that I said something, and it turns out they're actually bothered by Kelly. So I think it's interesting that when I fill in for Kelly here, because it's like, yeah, the bosses are like, nothing should really change unless they go back 2 years because Kelly's now a skinny mini.
Well, you look great, Dustin.
Oh, thank
you. Look great.
Thank you.
On the show today, Paul Sporer will join us, talk Major League Baseball. Chris Felica, what a World Cup day today. The game threes, if you will, of the group stage begin today, and there are 6 of them. So it's 6 today, 6 tomorrow, 6 Friday, 6 Saturday. These are concurrent, 3 time slots per day. Both final games in each group get played at the same time. Chris has all of his thoughts, all of his bets on every one of these today, and I think tomorrow as well. We'll get that from Chris Felica coming up. Will Hill, all of his bets, Major League Baseball and more. Always fun to have Will in. Toddy Wishnev, the return of Toddy Wishnev after a week off when he was sick last week. Let's see what's on his mind. Nick Whalen on the NBA draft a little later on as well. And then Dustin and I will take a look at some awards in Major League Baseball. Look at Rookie of the Years. We haven't done that in a long time, so we'll dive into that a little bit.
Yeah, it feels like a golden year for the Rookie of the Year. Really weird thing, because last year we had the National League where it just kind of default went to Drake Baldwin, who looks awesome.
It was kind of defaultish.
Yeah, and then this year, there's a lot of guys you can make a case for in both leagues.
Okay, I'm curious to hear what you have to say about it. I will react. The NBA draft last night. Well, before we even get into the nuts and bolts of this, I just want to sort of start with a little bit of a sports betting psychology thing. And I know as I'm about to say this, Dustin, there's always going to be inevitably there's going to be people, by the way, a little button down here for me. Sorry about that. Ladies, sorry about that.
Joe Cirallo.
I'm always interested in the psychology of sports betting. This relates to like stock market psychology as well, where I always used to say in the stock market, there's something less aggravating about losing money than there is not getting in on something you meant to get in on, and it soars, right? Something goes long, something explodes. It's just a weird psychology that we have. The human brain is an interesting thing. And sports betting, I'm in one of these periods of time, and so I'm going to say it because I know, even though some people will be annoyed by it, I will be annoyed by it when I inevitably have an 0-3 and 0-4 that'll look back on me saying this will be like, oh, really tough break. So this is one of these ruts where things are going great and everything. Soccer's great, right? There's a draw fit, like the England-Ghana draw, and I'm basically betting draw in almost all of these as a plus EV experience, and that was like a plus 650 yesterday. But, you lose just as many, so there's no point talking about it. So in soccer, it's going well. It's going as well as it probably should. Tennis, another winner last night. It's 7 of 8 on grass now. It's been a beautiful crescendo since a tough February and March. But I know what I'm not playing. And so cutting to the chase here, I actually know it could be better than it's been. And so it's a mind, I'll use the word meld right there instead of another word. So it's tough to sort of overcome. And I felt like the draft was like that last night too.
Okay, on the draft in just a second, but I'm just curious, back to the psychology thing. What do you do when you're running hot? Because I'm super streaky both ways. So I don't tinker too much with the unit size and the changes and going all in and being a little bit more risque with the wagers. When things are going well, though, I am willing to take more plus money shots, take a few more risks that way. That's usually my mentality, but I know because of the streakiness of the way this thing goes, I try to stay in my shoes and stay consistent with what I'm doing.
I'm always doing plus money in tennis daily, so that's not really a thing for me. But yeah, I don't go crazy. I stay the course, and I just have to live with it. And I thought the draft last night, which was, I ended up having more bets than I thought I would, but it really only came down to the two. Which was Kingston Flemings, which I talked about yesterday, going exactly at number 8, which he did. I don't know if the person who gave me that intel wants to be shouted out, but then Drew corroborated that, which was independent intel yesterday. So that was huge. And then I did take a little of Luke Swain. Luke Swain was on a couple days ago. Where everybody got on Sturts going exactly at 16. Those ended up being the winning wagers of the day. But the reason that I say, and yet there is some regret, is because this went exactly like I said from the moment the draft lottery happened, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. I've been saying Devonta Peterson, Boozer Wilson since the very beginning. And by the time the draft rolled around, Dustin, yesterday, most of the intel suggested that it was not only Devonta Peterson, Boozer Wilson, but that it was Wagler, Brown, Acuff, Flemings. The first 8 were basically chalk.
Yeah, I think
except for Flemings, which was a nice plus money. Yeah,
it's a great call by you. 2, because after
but
Wilson,
I didn't bet it. Is my point. Yeah,
after Wilson, but it's still it means you're understanding where the draft was at this year, which also led to the other 2 hits later on in the draft as well. It just means you were seeing the board well for this one specific event. I think the chalkiness of what went down last night made it super boring early on. There was no excitement for me.
I was at dinner. I was just watching the ticker.
Yeah, I think a lot of people got into it. I was not really into it as much as I wanted to be because there was nothing crazy. And maybe it's because I'm conditioned to the NFL draft and it's like a year-long process of all the mock drafts and all the movement. And what someone said in January is going to be different in February and March and April. And then everything they said may be right or may be wrong depending on what happens in the event. I thought last night the fact that every mock drafter and the market was correct on everything was kind of boring and somewhat lame in my eyes.
Well, unless you're Zach Cohen, our buddy, right? Zach was like 8.5 units to the positive because he actually followed through with bets.
Well,
good on him.
And he's on it early too.
Yeah,
he's beating. See, he's focusing on the draft earlier than probably the rest of us are, so he's able to put together a really profitable night.
Where it did get funky and where a few losses happened. So Dallas at 9, and maybe we should have seen this coming, Dustin, with Dusty May taking the job at Dallas, but he had his choice of all 3 Michigan guys projected to go in the lottery, right? Morez Johnson Jr., Yaxel Landerborg, and Adai Mara. He had his choice of all 3, and he went Morez Johnson Jr., which I did not see coming, but maybe we should have.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be Mara. I went 0 for 3 on my NBA draft bets. One of them was Mara under on his draft position because I thought Dallas was a spot even before Dusty May took that job, just to give them some super long length. If you want to compete in the West long term, you're going to need a 7'3" guy to body up Wembanyama.
Yeah.
Morez Johnson, I love, though. He's a tough player. He's a physical dude. I think the offensive game's coming along. He's a rim protector, not in the way that Mara is. He's more of a physical presence. I thought it was a really good pick. I mean, you couldn't go wrong with any of the 3. I also just personally enjoyed watching Dusty May celebrate his guys getting drafted when he happens to now be the head coach of the Mavericks.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool overall.
No, you're right. There was, what do you read into that choice of the 3? The most NBA-ready body? I don't know, maybe?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. And maybe the safest of the 3.
Maybe.
Landenborg's older. Mara's like a unique size, still coming into his own offensively. So Johnson might have been the safer play.
Bucks at 10 and 13, or excuse me, Bucks at 10 ended up with Braden Burries, and then at 13 they ended up with Nate Amon from Tennessee. So for all those lamenting Giannis no longer being in your uniform, well, there's your prize for the moment.
Yeah, I don't know if either's sexy. I like the potential of both. I feel like we're not going to know the answer to whether those were good picks until like 3-4 years from now.
As good as you could have done at 10 and 13, probably. You know? And by the way, let me just say this too. We just bet the draft. I'll speak for me. Dustin, maybe you have a better insight on this. I'm in no way, like you'll see on ESPN now for segments at a time. Oh, who was the winner? Who was the loser? We have no idea how this is going to be. We can speculate. We'll get an NBA Rookie of the Year here momentarily.
Yeah.
But, as far as projecting guys, the Warriors took Yaxel Landerborg, speaking of Michigan guys, at 11, which, I think Steve Kerr was part of that pick big time this time around. So I think he's going to play a lot. And then to your point about, how can we compete with Wembanyama? The Oklahoma City Thunder's answer to it at 12 was, well, let's go with Adai Mara and see how that works out.
Yeah, the Mara pick to go with Sturt, who you had going in that spot.
Well,
Memphis
Luke
trades
did,
it.
I just rode Luke.
Hey, you put money on it.
Yes, I did.
So it still counts. But I thought Oklahoma City, the Mara pick made a lot of sense. He's pretty advanced for a big man. I think he can help run and facilitate the offense as a passer. He's not a big lug out there for being 7'3". He's going to protect the rim. He's pretty agile. He has a standing reach of 9'9". And I think down the road, the plan is he eventually replaces Isaiah Hartenstein. But I really like the fit for Oklahoma City there. I really only have one loser, and that's the Brooklyn Nets.
You didn't like Keaton Wagler there? Mikael Brown Jr.?
Mikael Brown Jr. is a bit of a conundrum for me. First of all, he's not ready to play right away.
Yeah.
Secondly, it makes sense that he's not ready to play right away because you drafted 3 guards last year in the draft that need playing time. You also traded for Julius Randle. So I'm very curious of this timeline here for the Brooklyn Nets. Feels like they're talking out of both sides of their mouth with this plan. Why wouldn't you take Darius Acuff Jr., have your own version of Jalen Brunson, who's actually a more athletic Brunson, pair him with Randall, play that pick and roll game, let the other guys develop? But I don't really understand what the plan is or the timeline is for the Brooklyn Nets because they're kind of doing 2 things at once, and they're in a bit of no man's land.
Well, listen, you get the chance to play with Ben Saroff and Danny Wolf, Dustin. You got to leap at that opportunity. But DeBonsa goes first. Peterson goes second to Utah. It is interesting, though, reading folks' winners and losers, who they think. Because a lot of people are like, Utah didn't even have to win the lottery to get the best player in the draft.
Yeah.
Some people say about Memphis getting Cameron Boozer at 3, which we've been talking about for weeks. He's the most solid, surefire of all the prospects at 3, right?
Yeah.
Sort of skipping over DeBonsa. We'll look at Rookie of the Year on the other side because let's look at the odds. Because I think based on the number, and I'm looking at it right now. Oh, see, the guy that I was thinking about? It's just not long enough.
I know!
It's just not long enough. We'll get into that on the other side. All right, I'm already depressed about this. Next, on a numbers game at VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
This is VSiN, a network of sports betting analysts, writers, hosts, and handicappers, all here to help you become a more confident bettor. We broadcast live every day from Las Vegas, the sports betting capital of the world, and from studios across the country, giving you insight from every angle of the action. Take VSiN with you wherever you go with the VSiN Watch app or catch us on streaming platforms and regional sports networks. You can also listen live on SiriusXM channel 158 and on radio stations nationwide. Check out VSiN.com as well for betting tools, exclusive betting splits, AI-powered player prop projections from Opta, pro picks for every game, plus in-depth betting guides and articles built to give you an edge. From sharp betting analysis and daily best bets to insider interviews and expert breakdowns, VSiN is your trusted source for everything happening in the world of sports betting. See everything we have to offer at VSiN.com and become part of the Sports Betting Network.
Coming up on the next edition of Follow the Money, Brian Geltzeiler joins the show to recap round 1 of the NBA draft and the honest trade. Mike Palm, rapid fire, 6 matches in the World Cup. Dallin Cuff was at USA, Australia, and Seattle. He'll talk about his best bets for the weekend. Zach Cohen on the NFL betting guide, NBA draft as well. Follow the Money, 4 to 7 Eastern on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, SiriusXM channel 158.
A numbers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
The NFL betting guide, our NFL betting guide, the VSiN NFL betting guide is out. Whether you're betting futures, win totals, division races, MVP, Rookie of the Year, Super Bowl odds, our guide helps you get ahead of the market before training camps begin. Inside, you'll find breakdowns of all 32 teams, projected win totals, best bets from VSiN experts, futures, analysis, power ratings, and more. Get it today with our football special for just $175. Sooner you sign up, the more value you get with full access to everything we do across every sport through the Super Bowl. That includes daily best bets, real-time betting splits from DraftKings and Circa, AI-powered prop projections, 24/7 video on the VSiN Watch app. Head to VSiN.com/subscribe now. Why don't you? That's VSIN.com/subscribe. We get tweets beating the book. Best listeners in the game. Dustin, I know you've had great listeners too, but these listeners right here, I'm not sure if you're aware. Best listeners in the game.
Why? Because I get to experience your listeners that I only get to see through you guys reading their tweets on the air. I get to actually live through it now.
Yeah.
Because these are not the same listeners that usually are up late with me on cashing out.
No, I'm sure not. This is from Shrek McPhee. Sorsby stuff is insane. Oh, yeah, the Brendan Sorsby thing took another turn. We didn't talk about this yesterday. The NFL, rightfully so, he says, knows the only thing that can kill them is fixed games. They allow domestic violence, PED, DUI, and other perpetrators second chances all the time. Crazy. For those who missed it, again, Brendan Sorsby, we talked about it ad nauseum. We even had Sia Najad, an attorney, and a practicing attorney, or attorney by trade, I should say, and talking about it. Sorsby, just Texas Tech, just a joke of how they handled it, trying to make any excuse they can or any rationalization they could to justify playing him against the NCAA's edict. And then Sorsby said, you know what, I'm taking my toys. I'm going to go in the NFL supplemental draft anyway, so screw this. And now the NFL is saying, because the NFL has it in writing, right, in the contract, they are not required to go through a supplemental draft every year. And so they decided, you know what? Watch this. We're not doing a supplemental draft. So here we are.
Oh, yeah. They laid the hammer down here. They also said, they called him out specifically and said, you didn't give the proper evidence needed to force this situation, to make you eligible for the supplemental draft. This is only after you went through the process in Texas. I'll tell you what this says is if you're kind of on the fringes of society and you want to play football in Texas, they'll find a place for you. Everywhere else in the country, probably not a fit.
Brett Hurley 7. Gil, I agree. The worst feeling with stocks and sports is when you have conviction and don't bet something. My simple solution, always bet it. Even $5 or $10, you'll feel so much better. And also with the the sequencing of 1, 2, 3, 4, and even beyond, all the way through 8. Again, being in the state of Nevada, I'll tell you, Dustin, when this state gets legalized sports betting, this is going to be something. But we don't have access to some of the bigger shops. Say what you will about DraftKings and FanDuel, but at least they have tons of options. We don't have them here. And then in prediction markets, I got shown, there's a beautiful map that someone put out where the entire country, 49 states are green, and then there's this black hole of Nevada. I was like, that should be the state flag at this point. So there was so much we couldn't bet unless we muled it out or that kind of thing. And so never got around to doing that.
Yeah, it is interesting for this being theoretically the Wild Wild West, right? That's what it's thought of as, and having the bravado to post a number. It is weird for specific events where they're scared that they don't have an edge, that all of a sudden the numbers disappear when that edge disappears for them.
Listener Lance Schaefer, I tailed on the Sturts to go 16 play, another big winner from the Numbers Game show. I'll shout out once again to Luke Swain at Vegas Refund. He was the guy who gave that to us a couple days ago. And Chris Hartman, Gil, could the NBA not afford an adult-sized couch for the draftees and their families to sit on last night? A little hard up for money in that National Basketball Association. Not sure if they could.
Yeah, it was fitting a lot of people into that room. We even had to do like second row with the sisters and the brothers sitting behind them. Like, mom and dad get a chair, but if you're a sibling, you get the back row.
Here was the tennis play, by the way, for subscribers.
Hey.
VSiN.com/picks. This is a more tame-sized green check mark today. We went a little crazy with the size yesterday. McCartney Kessler gets it done in straight sets against Angelina Kalinina. And if you're like, what? Only one pick today? Yeah, I handicap all of the matches across 4 tournaments. There's tons of matches, and sometimes that's how the cookie crumbles, but we'll take the 1-0, and we'll move on until tomorrow. Again, Wimbledon draw on Friday. We will have Zach Cohen on the show. Zach usually comes on for the Zach and Crack show. On Thursday, we'll actually have Zach on Friday to react in real time. Not real time, but after the draw is out for Wimbledon, which begins Sunday. Okay, Dustin. NBA championship odds. Is there anything about the draft? Is there anything that happened yesterday that moved the needle for you on any futures?
I don't think rookies are making that type of impact, because if they're a really good rookie, they're going to a team that needs them to be really good because the rest of the team is really bad.
Generally speaking, yes. And in this case, this year, yes.
I think Utah is the one, right, that you would just kind of earmark, just because of the way they've built for this season. It does feel like it's all coming together. I don't know if they go on a San Antonio run. I don't think they're that good, but it does feel like the first year of winning for Utah is coming. Just with Ace Bailey a year ago, the trade for Jaren Jackson Jr., there's a reason Danny Ainge does not want to part with Lauri Markkanen. I just think there's a combination on that roster with the depth, the development. Keontae George probably should have been the most improved player a year ago. Utah adding Peterson, and if he can be that just a bucket getter, because that's really all they need him to be, is a bucket getter, which is really his MO and his talent. I do think Utah's an interesting team to watch, but would I bet them to win the West? Would I bet them to win the title? No, but it's more of a win total that I'd be looking at once those are up.
They'll just have to figure out how to sort of get the basketball around both to Keontae George and Darren Peterson, I guess. That's their only struggle here. But they're a team for the future. By the way, the only thing that's really changed in the NBA championship odds since the finals, if you remember during the finals, the Spurs were the short shot to win the NBA championship. The Thunder have gone back by a tick for whatever that's worth. Plus 250 to win it all next year. Spurs plus 260. And then the Eastern Conference parade begins with not the Knicks, but with the Celtics at 6-1, then the Knicks at plus 750. Giannis's Heat is next at 20-1. That's too short, isn't it?
The Celtics being third kind of fascinates me, because all the reports coming out yesterday after our show is that they're now shopping Jaylen Brown everywhere. I don't know what the return looks like, and they don't have a ton of depth anyway. I'm not sure they warrant being the third team overall here on the betting board, and I'll be the idiot and I'll fall for it because I love the number, but 40-1 on the Cavaliers feels kind of crazy. And I'm someone who's very anti-James Harden, big picture as a player and as a winning basketball player. But 40-1, if they can make the proper adjustments, that is an absolutely absurd number attached to them.
I think the Pacers at 40-1 interests me more than the Cavs at 40-1.
I get that.
Yeah. Then of course, Eastern Conference, Western Conference will actually, of course, follow suit. Just with different numbers, obviously, to win respective conferences. But the Celtics are the short shot currently to win the East at plus 220, Knicks plus 270. Then it's the Heat, who just need live, warm bodies.
Yeah, what are we doing there?
At plus 650. Then it's the Pistons, which is interesting at 8-1. A lot of people thought the Pistons did very well yesterday in the draft.
You know what? The Western dominance is insane. The Pistons are 8-1 to win the East, 10-1 to win the title. Think about that.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting. And then there's the West, corresponding the Western Conference here. Spurs and Thunder, co-favorites plus 140. Nuggets next best at 12-1. As far as Rookie of the Year, all right, Dustin, I'm curious what we both we hadn't talked about this, and we both kind of had the same reaction on the way into the break. So Cameron Boozer, the third pick in the draft out of Duke, Memphis Grizzlies, he's the short shot for NBA Rookie of the Year out of the box, plus 240. Darren Peterson, the number 2 pick in the draft to the Jazz, and A.J. DeBonta, number 1 to the Wiz, 4-1. Then it's Darius Acuff Jr. of the Sacramento Kings at plus 450, and then a jump to Caleb Williams at plus 950. Caleb Wilson, pardon me, plus 950. That would really be something if it was Caleb Williams. Caleb Wilson at plus 950, and then Brown Jr. for the Nets at 15-1. Everybody else 20-1 or longer. Your reaction in terms of it's too short of a number? First of all, they're all too short.
Yeah.
Let's just say that because we have no idea about anything. But your reaction was regarding whom?
Okay, there was two. One, I wanted to bet Boozer just because of the opportunity, but at plus 240, you can't do that now. Maybe you hope that John Morant isn't traded. John Morant's ball dominant early in the season, and the number gets a little bit bigger on Boozer, and then you can anticipate a Morant trade during the season, and hopefully you can get something on him. But I love the situation for him. The other one would be Darius Acuff Jr.
That was the one I was thinking
because I think of the old And One shirt that I had as a kid, and it was just add water on instant offense. That is Darius Acuff. As long as he's hydrated, he's going to be getting buckets in the NBA next year.
Well, so my immediate thought was I can't wait to see what Darius Acuff Jr.'s number is. And the reason is not, do I think Darius Acuff Jr. is the best player in the draft? I don't. But he's going to Sacramento. And I think there's a world in which they just say, hey, Darius, do whatever you want to do. Go. In the same way that old Sacramento Kings fans will remember Tyreek Evans getting Rookie of the Year so many years ago. So I thought there was the world where that happened. But he's only plus 450. So smarty pants me, not too smart. That's not a bettable number. And then there's a lot of people who are simply saying, dude, Darren Peterson is going to destroy. And at 4-1, you better take him now because this is only going worse.
Yeah, I want to bet Darius Acuff Jr. The problem is in Sacramento, they still have a bunch of random veterans there, like Levine and Sabonis. They're going to buy out DeRozan, it looks like. DeAndre Hunter is still under contract. Keegan Murray's there. Malik Monk is on the roster. I don't know what kind of run he gets. I was hoping for like a 7-1, somewhere 8-1, somewhere in that range. Lendenborg at 20-30-1. I saw 30-1 last night.
He's going to play.
He's going to have to play by necessity, especially with the older players. He's 23 years old. He should theoretically be ready for the moment. That's the guy.
That was like the sneaky funniest thing about the draft. The Warriors, who are already butt old, go with the oldest guy.
Yeah, true.
Like, let's get a veteran rookie here. No love for DeBonce at all. We didn't even mention him.
I'm good.
Okay, I'm good, he says. All right. Paul Sporer, baseball, next. It's a numbers game at VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Biggest contest we've ever seen.
Seriously, what's the guarantee?
They're still talking about it.
I think it's time to put the rumors to rest.
Showtime.
$30 million.
$30 million?
$30 million? $30 million?
That's $30 million guaranteed. 3 contests, multiple ways to win, no rate. Entry starting at $1,000. Enter in Nevada, play from anywhere.
Elevate your sports betting game with VSiN's exclusive betting splits. Stay ahead with real-time market trends and track bet percentages on any matchup. Then uncover the edge by comparing them to the amount of bets placed to find out where the sharp money is headed. Upgrade to VSiN Pro to access betting splits, live odds, line moves, power ratings, and in-depth game analysis. Go to VSiN.com/pro to join VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Don't forget about the Sharp Plays, unmatched transparency with records updated daily, AI betting analysis, real-time global betting info, and alerts directly from the pros. SharpPlays.com. Check them out. You can scan the QR code there for more. We get tweets. Speeding the book, Brian Point Schaefer. The DraftKings commercial says it's live in all 50 states. What can you bet on DraftKings in Nevada? You can't, can you?
No, and they even have that prediction version of the app, but
Right,
I don't think we can do that either.
They're liars.
That's true.
That's a lie. Let's run DMC, by the way. Chance Copperpot. The only NBA draft bet I thought deserved my money was the Flemings pick, which I gave out yesterday, or Drew actually gave it out before me, corroborating some intel I got. Huge plus money on Kalshi. Not Banchero level, but damn close. Thanks, the numbers game. You got it, man.
I also think that's an awesome fit. As a defender, great fit in Atlanta.
Bobby Geddes. Meant to send this yesterday, but my friends and I are all huge Celtics fans. None of us are upset about not getting Giannis. Based on age, health history, and the complete dynamic change that Giannis brings, not worth it. Also, I always wanted to see this combo host on a numbers game. Gil asked Dustin how to do the intro to the We Get Tweets segment. I'm trying to do... He said him trying to do so a couple weeks ago was hilarious. Oh, I missed that.
I kept going, Kelly, what's this segment called? We read tweets? He's like, no, it's We Get Tweets. I go, all right, now we read tweets. He's like, nope, that's not the name of the segment.
Rick Zabsky. Hey, is that our own Rick Zabsky? He says, smart of the Warriors to take a Michigan man. We know how much Draymond loves that university. Just ask Jordan Poole's
That's
face.
well done. Well done.
Well played. Paulie 68. I cannot see Boozer winning Rookie of the Year on a team most likely to be one of the worst teams in the league. Can anyone name the starting five? And then Chris Heath woke up this morning with alerts on my phone about unusual bank activity. Several transactions were declined at the M Las Vegas, amounting to $250. Kelly? Blaming Kelly's already been banned from playing blackjack over there at the M. Let's talk some baseball. Because with everything going on, World Cup, NBA draft, it is possible that you have missed Major League Baseball for a day or two. And in to discuss is Paul Sporer, our buddy from Fangraphs, tried and true, Paulie, at Sporer on Twitter, host of the Sleeper and the Bust podcast. And by the way, Paul also a content designer for Out of the Park Baseball. We don't want to sleep on that. Paul, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me on. It's really funny you say that about how baseball got backburnered. And for me, I woke up and, I was checking the TV this morning, turning something on about 6, and the NBA draft was on, and it said the 2026 draft. I'm like, the draft hasn't happened yet. What is this possibly being shown on NBA TV right now? Completely missed that the draft went yesterday. So, it depends where your focus is.
Yeah.
I can totally hear you on things, and I'm sure baseball is getting backburnered for most people, but my psychotic butt actually had the draft get backburnered yesterday. Yeah. Totally missed it.
The only draft that matters to you is the MLB draft, which happens mid-July. So looking forward to that. Let me just ask you about this one thing. Because I was unaware of that. I was focused on soccer and the draft, like most people were. But then this morning, Will Hill sent to the group chat this video of Cubs beat the Mets yesterday. They play a doubleheader today to make up for some rainouts. But the Cubs win this game at 7-2. Did you see this? Pete Crow Armstrong is on first base. I can't even remember who was at the plate, but it's ball 4, right? It's ball 4. Pete Crow Armstrong, not knowing that it's going to be ball 4, obviously, is sliding into second. He was running. He slides into second. He comes off the bag. A tag is applied, but it's ball 4. As all the announcers say, well, it's ball 4. You get second base this year. But the Mets challenge. And the Mets win, Paul. What are we doing?
I did miss that. That's crazy. I imagine it'll be covered on MLB Central, which I generally watch in the morning, and will after this spot. So I'm sure they'll cover. That's insane.
It's insane.
So it's a walk,
yes.
But he was running. And so because they saw he was running aggressively, that doesn't matter, though. It's negated. We've seen it a billion times where somebody's running on a 3-ball count as if it's a steal or a hit and run. It ends up being ball 4, and okay, you can do whatever the hell you want and tag him, but he's safe. That's crazy to me. What did they even say that was?
Well, the only interpretation you can come up with is that the umpires are reading the language so tight to the letter that they're unable to sort of back off for a second and be like, wait a minute, none of this should apply, right? So
right, and I hate when an obvious thing like that is just so plainly missed, right? Like no reason to not just be like, wait a minute, it's ball 4. Everything after that does not matter, right? Like that basically makes it a dead ball. Pete gets second.
Yeah.
Now, were they saying like he made some sort of move toward third with the overslide?
No, I don't think so.
No, they're what they're saying is they're interpreting the rule too directly,
too closely. Right.
His bag hits his hand hits the bag on the slide because in his eyes it's a baseball play. He doesn't know it's a walk. His head's down. He's running.
Exactly. Yeah.
They're not factoring the human side of this thing. So the second his hand hits the bag, they go, that is him touching the base in the walk. The hand going over the base then becomes he's overrun it. He's eligible to be tagged out. It makes no sense. That's a bad interpretation.
Terrible.
That's embarrassing. Thankfully, it didn't cost them the game. They still won.
That's
but
right.
That's beyond silly.
Still won it 9-6. We haven't talked about your Tigers. Maybe we should start there. In an AL Central where I've been saying this all year, the AL Central and the AL West, nobody wants to win. I mean, we could have, there is a world in which we could have a team with a losing record winning one or two of those divisions. We'll see. Apologies to the Mariners fans who are probably like, are you kidding me? What about your Tigers, though? Because Dustin and I were talking about this yesterday. Dustin,
I bet
the Tigers, right, to win the division.
7-1.
7-1. What do you think?
I'm fully in on this. I am a Tigers homer, but that usually leaves me on the pessimistic side, if I'm being honest. I don't think I, necessarily have the orange tinted glasses where everything's going to be all right. But, once we got news that this surgery for Skubal was going to be totally different, revolutionary stuff where he's out, 38 days. But not only that, it was paired for me with the fact that he and Mize came back at the same time. So everyone puts it all on Skubal. Understandably, he's the 2-time Cy Young best pitcher in baseball. But he and Mize coming back together was massive, right? They went out together basically essentially around the same time, which is why that felt bigger too, because people were talking about, Skubal's done, Skubal's out, the Tigers are done. I was like, no, Skubal and Mize are gone. Both is what the problem was for me. But now that both are back, and Troy Melton, somebody I thought could be a real savior this year for the team, has done that. He pitched well in their stead. Needs to figure out his strikeouts more if he's going to survive with a sub-3 ERA. I'll tell you that for sure. But they got a sub-3 ERA and a sub-1 whip from him while those two guys were out. Flaherty does need to come back, but Cater Montero kind of fills in for him. Meanwhile, the offense is turned around. Unfortunately, Glaber's hurt again. This has been kind of an on and off thing with him. They need him or some sort of replacement. They do need some more offense to pop up. McGonigal, Green, Torque, and Dingler, they're not able to do it themselves. I'm not even sure if I should include Torque in that grouping. In fact, him coming up and kind of getting back to peak Torque would certainly help bridge the gap there. But I think they need to be aggressive at the deadline. I don't think Skubal should be traded until the very last minute, if at all. At this point, right? They have the second, third best record in June so far. You have to take this up to July 28th, 29th, 30th, actually even later because it's an August 3rd deadline. So you can take it to the 30th, 31st, August 1st here really see where they're at, because otherwise I don't think they have to trade Skubal. Obviously it looked way different a couple weeks ago, but that's why we talk about this being a marathon. I know it's such a trite cliche about it's a marathon, not a sprint. And yet we see it play out every year where we make all sorts of sweeping judgments in April, May, and even June. And then come July, August, September, things are wildly different. So I never lost hope on them because no one ran away and hid from the Tigers. And that's the only reason that I stayed steadfast that if Skubal did come back with Mize, they stay somewhat healthy, they can get back in this.
What about another division where it seemed like Atlanta was going to run away with the East here early on, but the pitching issues we were all kind of concerned about. As someone who bet the under on the win total, I thought the starting pitching was going to be an issue. It wasn't early on. It's rearing its head. They're potentially going to get swept today in San Diego. And the Phillies now are just 5.5 back. They've gone from 4-1 to plus 275 to win the East. Do you think there's staying power now that Don Mattingly has taken over and the Phillies are playing better baseball?
I think there totally is. And nothing against Mattingly. I don't want to say this as a negative to him. I'm not sure that made too much of a difference. I think if Thompson had stayed, they probably could have done the same. I understand why they had to have a voice change, though, with the way things were going, just kind of shake things up. I'm sure Thompson understood it, too, and said, I know it's not my skill here, but I get it. It's kind of a baseball move there, because I don't think the two of them are all that different. I think it's the same type of, calm, staid voice, let the talent do the job. I'm not a Braves hater, but I have to say, finally on this, their ascent made no sense to me. Dustin, I'm totally with you where I'm like, this team stinks coming into the year. Not the offense. I thought the offense was fine. But with the pitching they had lost, what they were going to be doing, I'm like, they're not good. And yet they get out to this great lead. They're running away with things. You know, the Mets are melting. The Phillies were melting. Their offense is still a little bit problematic for the Phillies. But now all of a sudden, I think it is a race. I think the Phillies are a live bet here. I think the Braves are more of an okay team, not a super team. I'll be interested to see what both of those teams do at the deadline. And then don't forget, Marlins, Nats giving you a good series every time out. You're not getting those free pickup wins anymore in the division.
By the way, we have a slew of tweeters that say the umpires got the call right last night. Jason Stark, it's not a dead ball. PCA overslid the base. He's on his way to third. Well, he wasn't really, but okay.
That's the part that gets me. I don't think he was on his way to third.
Jeremy Pucko says on a walk, once the runner touches the awarded bag, he becomes a runner with liability to be tagged out. I think they got the call correct. And Hoops by Hoot says the Cubs call was correct. Once an awarded base has been touched, the safety of the award is then over. Since yesterday, it feels like, but okay.
Yeah.
Paul, thank you. Appreciate it.
Take care, y'all.
Coming back on a numbers game right here at VSiN.
The World Cup is here, and VSiN is getting you ready to bet on one of the top sporting events of the year. 104 matches in 39 days. And our hosts, along with experts like TalkSport's Alex Crook, are getting you ready with expert wagering advice and predictions. Can Argentina repeat? Will this be France's year? Listen and watch VSiN throughout the tournament as we analyze the betting values for each match. VSiN, the sports betting network. Your favorite VSiN shows and personalities are now available to download as podcasts. Catch every hour of our live broadcast with VSiN Best Bets, or find your go-to show and download it directly. Get instant reactions to last night's games, sharp analysis on today's biggest matchups, and everything in between. Whether you're commuting, working out, or just catching up, VSiN lets you take the action with you wherever and whenever you want. Search VSiN on your favorite podcast platform and get in on the action with VSiN, the sports betting network.
Game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Okay, I'm sort of obsessed with this Pete Crow Armstrong play. So we'll put this to bed with this. So Cubs manager Craig Counsell was ultimately ejected after arguing the play. Later stating, and this I think is the definitive statement. He says later stating that the umpires interpreted the rule correctly, but that it's a terrible rule.
Oh, okay.
That's what he said. That's probably the accurate.
Yeah,
take.
It's probably correct, but I think understanding the moment, because how is Pete Crow Armstrong supposed to know that the situation was a walk?
It doesn't make, if you step back and think about exactly as you said it from a baseball general perspective, is exactly what you said. It doesn't make sense to punish the runner for that.
Yes, because it's a free play. It's like a free bet. At that point, he has a free bet. He's standing on second. I understand it, but maybe we need a different way to have this thing set up where we're like the ball is live again.
Some people might say, "Well, you're gambling running." So, you know, some people might say that.
I guess.
Jason Stark, by the way, who said that he was giving us the rule interpretation. He says, by the way, him and his son are on their way to Citi Field now for a early 1:10 p.m. Mets baseball game. Doubleheader there today at Citi Field with the Mets and the Cubs. They look very happy, the both of them, to be going. Enjoy.
Jason, as a Mets fan, I will pray for you.
Auburnist heading to Vegas this week. What books have the best options for tennis? It's sparse, my friend. It is sparse. I would say BetMGM, but sometimes what's on the app is not at the counter. I don't know if you have the app. Maybe you're going to the counter, so I wouldn't say them. It's probably Caesars or Stations. That's the short answer to the question. And there's some places that don't have them at all. I want to put that out there. Bruce Dobingen. The Cubs' decision was that War had had Pete Crow Armstrong offside on the pass from Messi. This soccer thing is out of hand. Michael Burns. Gil, have you heard Dustin's theory of Twitter phenom Freddie from Germany? I have not. What's your theory?
It's not real. It's been organized by big marketing companies to highlight certain aspects of America, whether that be for tourism, for states that don't normally get it, whether that be for companies, for musical artists. I believe that Freddie is what they would call a plant, an industry plant, and everything he's doing, for the most part, is not been organic and genuine. A couple real things have happened, but for the most part, this is all the ploy of a marketing company to help out some businesses make money down the road.
All right. I'll accept that answer. Steve Bilo, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, says, can you not play traditional DraftKings salary cap games in Nevada? I think that's what they're referring to.
No, we can't play like DFS stuff.
We can't do anything. Patrick Kelly, DraftKings is live in Nevada. As live as that Cubs June thing, Gil. Okay.
Wow.
He says it's all right. Thanks for the great draft insight in tennis. Sorry about the Cubs. The numbers guys. Rookie of the Year graphic, I think, was wrong regarding the Pistons. I believe they traded that Kareem Lopez pick to the Grizz for another exciting Rookie of the Year long shot, Stanford freshman guard Ibuka Okori. The kid's a poor man's Dame Lillard. Yeah, with the NBA, much like, hey, Scottie Pippen was drafted by the Seattle Supersonics, all the pictures of Scottie Pippen on draft day are in a Sonics hat, and then he got traded to the Bulls. So some of our logos are based on the original spot of that pick heading into yesterday prior to trade. So, yes.
Because there's a chance the trade doesn't officially go through.
There's always that chance, and that's why they do that, right? Hold up. Dan Groeschel says, Sporer claims to be a Tigers fan, and he's wearing no Tigers gear on a Scooble start day against the Yanks? What's going on there? Thanks again, Jeremy Pucko, Hoops by Hoots, and Jason Stark for the clarification on the ruling on the PCA play. Okay. The NFL betting guide is out. VSiN.com/subscribe for our big $179 deal through the Super Bowl. We all had a chance. 23 VSiN personalities had a chance to put in not only their best bets, but also on the grid who they got every division, who they got wild cards, who they got winning the championship of each conference, and, of course, the Super Bowl as well. We thought we would take a peek at my AFC and your AFC here. AFC East, I got the Buffalo Billiards, Dustin. No surprise there. 20 of the 23 folks at VSiN ended up with the Bills winning the AFC East. Bills, by the way, you think about like a detail you might have forgotten from last year. I'll try to give some on some of these. The Bills were eliminated in overtime by Denver, if you recall, in the playoffs last year. Josh Allen's career record in overtime fell to 0-7, including 0-3 in the playoffs, the worst mark in NFL history.
Wow.
We don't often talk about that.
No, we don't.
0-7 0-3 in the playoffs. The worst mark in NFL history is the 0-7. I have the Ravens in the North. Remember last year, none of the top 7 teams in preseason Super Bowl odds made the conference title games for the first time since 2008. The Ravens were one of those. Keep that in mind when we have our entrenched viewpoints of all the favorites this year. But I do have the Ravens coming back and winning the AFC North. AFC South, I got the Texans. Remember, the thing with the Texans last year is they started 0-3, and they became the first team in 7 seasons since the 2018 Texans to make the playoffs after an 0-3 start. I got them bouncing back. I'm not out on C.J. Stroud yet. Let's not get crazy yet. I got the Chiefs. I think Patrick Mahomes is playing day one. That's what all signs point to. I got the Chiefs winning the AFC West. My wild cards, Dustin. Patriots, Jags, and Broncos. Patriots, famously, improved their win total from 4 in 2024 to 17 in 2025, including the playoffs, passing the 1998-99 Rams for the largest turnaround in NFL history, a plus 13 turnaround. But keep in mind, they also played the easiest regular season strength of schedule since the 99 Rams as well. The greatest show on turf, who won the Super Bowl that year. So downgrade the Patriots because of schedule, but not downgrade enough so that they don't make the playoffs. I think Drake May and the Patriots get to the postseason, but as a wild card. Jaguars, I've mentioned before, but I'll say it again, and this gets to, again, we shouldn't have all of our opinions entrenched in the preseason. There were an NFL record 5 playoff teams coming off 11-plus loss seasons last year. The Jags and the Patriots were 2 of them. 3 teams in NFL history have gone from a 13-plus loss season to a 13-plus win season. The 2025 Jags and Patriots were 2 of those 3. 99 Colts being the other. And you know what else with the Jaguars? You know what we never talk about, Dustin? We never talk about place kickers.
Yeah.
And it's such a big part of the game. Lest we forget, last year, 12 60-yard field goals were made, blowing away the previous record of 5. Cam Little made the 2 longest field goals in NFL history, 67 and 68, and is now 2 for 2 on 67-plus yard field goals in his career. Everybody else is 0 for 22. So Cam Little, their secret weapon.
Well, you can kick it from like 72 also.
It's amazing. And then the Broncos. Here's the thing with the Broncos, that even though I think they get in as a wild card, remember they had an NFL record 12 comeback wins and tied an NFL record with 11 one-score wins with the 2024 Chiefs last year. So there is that. You, sir.
Okay, I'm with most people here. I'm on the Bills in the East. It feels chalky, but I do think it's warranted. Their quarterback is battle-tested for big moments. They added DJ Moore, which I would have really liked them to have been in on the A.J. Brown sweepstakes. I really thought getting someone like him would have been better, but overall, I think Buffalo is still the class of the East. I went Cincinnati to win the North, and this is mostly
I couldn't do it
situationally based on the fact that the other teams in the division all have new coaches. And this is the one area where you go, Zach Taylor, that's a plus for you. Also, I think Zach Taylor will be replaced next year if they don't get off to a better start. So if not now, when do they get off to a good start? They jump out to a hot start. I think the Ravens are going to have to chase them from behind. I like the additions on the D-line for Cincinnati. The offense can score with anyone. So I have them actually winning the North. They're a little bit under $2. I'll probably end up betting that before the season starts.
Top 5 easy schedule, too.
Yeah. Houston to win the South. I almost had Houston winning the AFC. That's how high I am on them.
Oh, my.
I just think that defense is going to travel. That defense is going to be consistent, but you touched on it. We need C.J. Stroud to be the guy he was as a rookie. I need it to show up, and I think with some of the health at receiver, that's going to help him this year. Kansas City winning the West. It all hinges on when Mahomes returns.
I think it's from the start. I really do.
As long as he plays, 14, 15 games, I think they win the division here because Bo Nix is dealing with an injury and then the rest of that division. I have Baltimore as an AFC team. I think maybe Baltimore, the perfect world for them is wild card goes on a run because they are so loaded once again. The Hendrickson addition, the defense is always loaded. They lost a couple pieces on offense, but they have plenty of help, and I think it's going to be a big reliance on Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson's legs this year. I am not a Denver guy. I'm pretty anti-Denver, honestly, but I slotted them in here as one of my wild card teams kind of by default. I'm not buying New England. Maybe I'm too low on them. I'm not buying Jacksonville. I think people know what Liam Cohen wants to do now as a coach. But I do think Denver, with that defense, going to make things difficult. They still should be a playoff team. And my last one, I just love Jim Harbaugh. I think the way he's condensed the game for Justin Herbert, made it basically comes down to 3 or 4 big throws in the fourth quarter, and now he's got a coordinator in Mike McDaniel who's going to make him look better than he ever has in his career. I am very high on the Chargers, even though the schedule is absolutely brutal for them. Those are my AFC teams, and those 3 wildcard teams. We'll see if I stick with Denver in the long haul.
All right, maybe we'll do the NFC tomorrow. By the way, VSiN NFL betting guide. Again, VSiN.com/subscribe. Out and about, Adam Burke steering the ship. Great job by him. And New England Patriots fans, let the record show there are 2 people sitting on this desk, and I was the one who had him in the playoffs. So I can't hate Drake May that much, right? Right? Chris Felica, World Cup, next. Numbers game, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
If you're looking for an edge in MLB player props, VSiN delivers with data you can trust. VSiN Pro subscribers now get exclusive access to MLB player prop projections powered by Opta AI. Get clear, data-driven numbers for both hitters and pitchers across the